Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Duckville here. I've got a StarCraft 2 Heart of the Swarm to replay today. It is going to be a Terran versus Zerg. Up at the top left-hand side of Habitation Station, our red Terran player, hailing from Canada, did really well getting into the WCS. The WCS Canada Nationals back in 2012. Unfortunately, didn't go too far, but it is DrunkenBoi. He's currently playing for Team Complexity at the moment. Got recruited just about a month and a half ago to Complexity. It was, of course, formerly on Demos Esports, and then was also on FXO America just before that, before FXO decided to disband that team. But yeah, he's a really good Terran player. From my perspective, I think I've casted a couple of games from DrunkenBoi. One thing I do like about this guy is he's not afraid to pull the mech out every now and then, and he does some really good things with like multi-pronged harassment, in particular with you know, bio-based harassment with the medevacs, especially against Zerg players, which will be quite helpful here because he is up against our blue Zerg over on the right-hand side here from TtSYF Gaming. Of course, it is Demilove. Demilove, one of the few players that is from, well, I don't want to say few players, but few sort of known players, well, at least to me, from India. And he'll be here. It was formerly part of Red Vipers, the Red Vipers team, and just recently moved over to TtSYF and does really well. He's a really good Zerg player. Has really good. One thing I do like about Demilove is he's also quite good at just generally keeping an eye on the map and making sure that he's responding to things in time. And, you know, as we mentioned before, our red Terran here, Tiger, aka DrunkenBoi, is a very good multi-pronged harasser. So he'll need to keep an eye out for this kind of thing. Of course, it is Habitation Station, which means there are a plethora of ways to get inside the main base. You can drop across this way. You can also drop here, which is sometimes, I think, a little bit of an unused spot from Terran players sometimes. Also, by the way, if you're going to be 2-raxing a Zerg, or if you're going to 2-gate a Zerg, don't do it up here. I saw someone, oh, hang on, I don't have my arrow up, so I'll just do it. I'll just do that again. Don't put your proxy 2-gates up here, guys. It's a really bad idea because the first Overlord comes across in this direction and he's going to see it. I'm not even kidding. I had someone try and proxy 2-gate me just over here, and I was like, okay. But yeah, if you're gonna do something like that, do it over here because it's a little bit of a better spot. And while we do see this second Overlord push down this way, or third Overlord push down this way, it's a little bit less likely to be scouted. But I don't know, just random tangent there, as we normally do. Of course, hopefully everybody has subscribed to the channel. If you haven't, please do make sure you do, because it does help out with you know, keeping track of how many people are interested in the content. Of course, I am trying to crank out as much stuff as I can, you know, based on, you know, replay availability, and then also the time to cast and upload and things like that. So hopefully you guys, if you like the content, please do subscribe. Please feel free to share it as well. Just chuck it on your, you know, make sure you press the like button. That helps with sharing as well, because other people will see it if you've attached your YouTube account to Twitter or Facebook or something like that. And also, you know, feel free to share stuff over on social media sites like Reddit and whatever, because all that stuff is really cool. Because, you know, I don't just do this for me, I do this for you guys as well, so you guys get to see some interesting StarCraft 2 games. You know, I know a lot of people like to watch when they're at work, when they shouldn't be, so hopefully I'm providing you guys with some entertainment when you're bored. But our Terran vs Zerg has started out relatively simply for the moment. Nothing too fancy is going on. We've got DrunkenBoi just getting his normal sort of opening rolling. We get a couple of Hellions out, possibly looking up towards 6 to 8. Harassment these days has been such a fantastic tool for Terran at the start of this particular matchup. The TvZ matchup is one where a lot of the map control does hinge around, you know, the Terran keeping these fast units alive right at the start. Previously, like in Wings of Liberty, before Reapers got their buff and their change, and then, you know, just back in the old days, a lot of the time it was just the Zerg who was the one who had a lot of early map control. But when these guys start to come out, the Hellions are out, the Reapers are out of the map, keeping an eye on things and keeping those Zerglings off the map, it gives Terran a lot of gives them a lot of presence right at the start to be able to set up their economy, get some harassment started, and try and keep the Zerg at bay, because eventually a Zerg player is going to start to really flood units out onto the field, such as Lings and Banes. But speaking of which, we've actually got this Overlord just scouting through, checking out what's going on. Does see the third command center there, so we've got Demilove just sort of recognizing that there's a very, very standard economic play coming out of his opponent for today. So we don't really expect DrunkenBoi to be doing too much right at the start. He'll probably add on a few more racks, as we can see here. Stem is around about halfway done, so that'll be completing in about a minute or two. And you know, as we mentioned before, everything is pretty normal at the moment. There's nothing too fancy going on. Our third base is now just coming up for Demilove. He's just setting this one up. 3 coins are out, trying to get some creep spread, also making sure that the third base is protected. And just trying to keep those Hellions and the Reapers at bay, because these guys will be looking to snipe off some creep tumors. If they can catch a queen by herself, then they'll certainly look for a kill, but you can't really contest 3 queens that are all sitting together like that. So DrunkenBoi will be just sitting back for the moment, just trying to as we said before, keep the creep spread back, try and keep the Lings off his side of the map so that he can continue to set up his economy here. And as we can see, the extra gas now starting to come in. Racks have gone up to 3 in total. We do have the double eBay as well, and everything, like I hate to say it again, but everything just quite normal at the moment. Nothing too interesting has started up. But DrunkenBoi going to look to try and snipe off that creep tumor. Doesn't get it, unfortunately for him. Demilove, meanwhile, has got the Baneling Nest on the way, so we are going to go to a very, very standard Ling, Bane, and presumably Muta composition very soon, as our macro hatch now starts up. Demilove going to push up to the high ground, trying to make sure that the creep spread does persist through this area here. You really do want to try and get it up to this sort of spot just up here. If you can get the creep just pushing this way, it gives you vision of the high ground, but it also lets you just sort of move up there quickly as needed, because sometimes these guys will be out of position and you may want to try and catch them with those early Lings that you may or may not get, which Demilove does have, but hasn't actually pushed them out on the map just yet, because there's just not enough. There's not enough Lings to actually cut down these Hellions just as of yet. But DrunkenBoi will push over to the gold base now, looking to get that the saturation here as quickly as possible. Is sending across a few of those SCVs. Normally when people do take this base rather quickly, they will transfer, even if they're not fully saturated at the main or at the natural, they'll transfer the workers across here to make sure that it does get up and running. And I believe it is 12, how many mineral patches? Yeah, 6 mineral patches, so about 12 workers are needed to get that up and running. I believe that's the right number. I'm pretty sure it is. Either way, DrunkenBoi is going to be pushing forward to Queens, perhaps a little bit out of position here. Do we have Banelings morphing in? We've got 5. We will need some more, though, not to mention some more Lings, but here we go. DrunkenBoi now pushing through. He's got a little bit of creep spread to clear up before he can push too far. He needs to make sure that he does not get sort of overstretched here, and he is starting to spread out some of the units. Good spreads here, but the Banes will now activate and will start charging through, taking out a lot of those Marines, and the Hellions, in fact, have all gone down. DrunkenBoi escaping with 2 of those medevacs full of units at the moment, but he clears out a little bit, but hasn't really done a huge amount of damage there. Demilove is going to be free to continue on with this lair tech. We've got the Spire done. Mutas are on the way. 7, in fact, in total have been morphed in. And Demilove still continuing to expand here as well. You've got to make sure that you are, despite this harassment, you've got to continue on in this type of expanding as well, because if you don't keep your economy up, Terran is going to start to really steamroll you once they have that gold base, because this is going to allow them so much production. In fact, I'm kind of surprised we haven't actually seen the extra racks go down for DrunkenBoi just yet, but he does have another factory. And I would assume he's going to look to start getting some more harassment going here. These guys need to jump up and perhaps attack this base, but the Mutas are keeping a watchful eye on this bottom side of the map. Unfortunately, just missing the medevac there, so they're not going to be able to stop any sort of attack there, and DrunkenBoi is going to start to push forwards. A couple of Widow Mines are here looking to snipe the Queen. May grab her, in fact. Yes, they do. 1-1 is done on these guys, so they are able to push forward to get a lot of damage done, but does need to lift. The Mutas are now coming across, trying to snipe down the medevacs before they can get some damage done, but alternating harassment here again from DrunkenBoi as he pushes into this 4th base, snipes down some of the drones. The Mutas have to be careful there. The Lings, beautiful movement of these Mutas. You can't have them trying to attack this large group of Marines that we're here. So DrunkenBoi is looking to try and continue on this harassment here, moving up to attack the main base, and Demilove trying to get the rest of those medevacs before they were able to get out of there. But this multi-pronged harassment has just been fantastic from DrunkenBoi. Takes out the 4th base, does a decent amount of damage here inside the main, and as we can see, we've got 8 workers killed, which, you know, when you look at it, it's not a huge amount, but it's some harassment. I think one of the big things that you always need to remember when playing as a Terran is you do need to get as much harassment done as you can. They don't have the high-powered hitting units like a Protoss would have. They also don't have the massive swarming capability that a Zerg will have. So you do need to be continually chipping away at your opponent, constantly upgrading here, as we can see from DrunkenBoi. 2-2 is on the way for him. The Mutaflock continues to grow with 6 more on the way, adding to the 13 that are already out on the field. And Demilove, I think he'll be reasonably comfortable with the position that he's in right now. 176 supply, both players at 176, but DrunkenBoi is sitting on a golden base. A golden base, there you go. A golden base. A gold base there. And I'm just now imagining a command center that's like covered in gold and it's all shiny and stuff like that. Muta shots can't penetrate it, but enough of that. Marines and a couple of Hellbats also now pushing forwards. There is a Widowmine here that's going to unfortunately waste the shot on that Overlord there. That guy is worth his weight in gold. Where is the Bane speed, I wonder? That is what I'm wondering right now, but as we can see, the Lings are going to flock in from the back. They will be able to take out a lot of these Marines. The Mutas need to get down here and take out these medevacs as quickly as possible, but unfortunately, they're just a little bit out of position here, and I think that with that, yeah, there he goes. He's finally started that up. The centrifugal hooks is now finally on the way, but a little bit too late for that particular situation here. But with the Mutaflock up at a decent number, we're currently sitting at 19. When you start to get above 25 or so, that's when these guys start to become a real pain in the butt. You need to be able to keep them out on the field and keep them harassing as well. You can't have them just sitting around too much. So you got to make sure these are very active. They're active units like a Phoenix, for example, like Reapers and stuff like that. Oh wow, wonderful catch there from our Zerg player Demilove. Is able to take out one of the medevacs, is able to get the second one, and a couple of the Marines that are there. More Mutas now flying across. A couple of turrets will defend the gold for now, but it looks as if, for the most part, Demilove has been holding his opponent at bay, getting his economy into a good position, and I would not be surprised, yeah, there is a 5th base now on the way from our Zerg player. Missing a few injects here in the main base and also in the natural as well, but is trying to get some harassment done. Diving inside the old base here, takes out the two turrets that were there, the 2 Marines that were stuck inside the turrets as well. We'll need to back out. There's too many Marines to try and contest this position at the moment. A drop will push across through the southern side of the map, but is being held back by the myriad of Lings and Banes that are here. Just a reminder, Bane's speed is now finally done. Just a little bit late there for Demilove, but I'm sure he's not going to be too worried given that he is really starting to control the map right now. But let's not count out a Terran at this stage. We do have Blue Flame Hellbats, which are going to be tanking at the front. There is a Thor or 2 out of the map. Marauders are slowly being added in to make sure that DrunkenBoi is able to deal with any possible heavy armor switch, such as Ultralisks or something like that. The Demilove is staying on this lead tech for the moment. These Mutas are very low. They cannot engage right now. They need to be careful. They're just going to get out of there. This base is definitely dead. There's no way that Demilove can save this one, I don't think. Good splits from DrunkenBoi to try and set up this position here. But now, with Demilove just pushing in the back, he's looking to try and get an arc to come in the back here and just crush these units, but you just have to be so careful in these tight spaces. The Hellbats are going to shred these Lings, and now, in fact, there you go. Lings just running their way on through, and perhaps DrunkenBoi over-pushing it just a tiny bit there. The Thors go down. Medevacs are now being torn apart by the Mutas that are there as well. More Lings are coming in, but unfortunately inside the main, we do see a drop here from DrunkenBoi, getting some damage done. He could be able to snipe down that lair if he targets it down. Needs to stem up. He is unfortunately dealing with a few of these Mutas that have caught up with the Marines and the medevacs there. Lings will come in to try and deal with the Marines inside the main base, but these are Space Marines. We're 2-2, but they do finally get blown up, and now as Demilove has cleaned up the main base, he will probably look to set up another 5th base. There it goes, a drone is on the way. We do have still a decent amount of drones out on the field. He's kept the drone count at 63 for the moment, which is not too bad at all. This is one thing I was going to mention is the +2 on the flyer attack, which is pretty damn good. But the worrying thing is that you just got to be careful about the Marines, because they will have a lot of damage on them. But DrunkenBoi, again, just kind of pushing a little bit too far. Despite some pretty reasonable splits here, he's still just pushed a little bit too far away from the main core of his army. I would like to see him just sort of grouping everything up again. I mean, these mutas, you've got mutas fighting Marines now. Normally you wouldn't really advocate that, but he's got so many mutas out right now. The Demilove is able to just fly through, take out Marines, take out turrets, jump on this gold base here, make sure that that stays down and out for the count. And now as he is going to clean up this orbital command, down it goes. He should be able to get out of there. I don't think there's any real point trying to engage this. Just try and keep the mutas alive, heal them up, get ready for attack. For the next phase of the attack. But DrunkenBoi, well, what's he got in the bank here? We've got a lot of racks that are continually pumping out Marines. There's a few Marauders thrown in for good measure. +2 to weapons is on the way for those Hellbats and the Thors that are out. In fact, do we have Thors? We've got one. This guy's a little bit stuck though, unfortunately. He's going to blast his way out of there. Come on, do it! Takes out the tech lab. Busts out of there. Arms flailing, getting ready for battle. Muta's now just diving in and out, looking for this medevac. It is trying to get out as quickly as possible. I don't think it's going to get too far. Down it goes. Down go the Marines. And this is starting to look a little bit dangerous for our Terran player from Complexity Gaming. We can see now that he's starting to move around, and where are the rest of the Marines? We've still got a few coming in. The mutas have decided it's time to kill off this base, taking out the turrets, taking out a couple of those SCVs there as well. The worker kill tally looking at a decent number for DrunkenBoi still after some of those drops inside the main and at the 4th base here. But now, as time marches on, Demilove has decided it's time for some Banes. 23 on the way. DrunkenBoi has scouted this. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that he did see all this coming, and now he's going to look to perhaps try and set up a good position here to engage. It's actually not too bad, given that he's in an angle like this, but unfortunately there is just so much Zerg, and Demilove magic boxing the mutas over the top of the Thors. It's able to take the Thors out of the equation. And now, with the last of the Marines starting to fall apart, I think this may be the beginning of the end for our Terran player here from Complexity. He started out with a reasonable amount of harassment, looked to try and push across the map, but perhaps pushed a little bit too far with some of his attacks that got a little bit out of position. Now looking to try and get some harassment done on the gold. I think this is going to be the end of DrunkenBoi very shortly here, losing SCV after SCV. The Marines are not going to be able to contest this at all. They do have 3-3 on their upgrades right now, but it is just not going to be enough. Lings are now swarming in. Where is that medevac? Did the medevac go down? I think it did, yeah. And GG. We see DrunkenBoi call this one out as he does fall down to TtSYF Gaming's Demilove, who did an excellent job of controlling the map. Hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you do subscribe and say hello on Twitter and Facebook and all the cool social media things. I'll catch you all next time. Here, as you can see, 47 damage to bio units and then the 34 damage against other standard targets. His storms have also been wonderful, just spreading them out across the battlefield, doing really nicely there. And for minigun, he's been sticking with a much more